Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you learners from Kent Business College. We're about to dive into our first session on a topic that's, well, incredibly important. Understanding the psychology behind radicalization and, crucially, how we can all play a part in preventing it. So let's get right into it, starting with the big question at the heart of all this.
Just take a moment to really think about that. What actually pushes a person down a path to extremism? What happens in someone's life that leads them to adopt such extreme beliefs, sometimes even violent ones? It's definitely not a simple question with a simple answer, and that's exactly what we're going to start unpacking together today.
You know, the first thing we really need to get our heads around is that radicalization isn't like flipping a switch. It's a process. It's a psychological journey. Nobody just wakes up one morning and decides to be an extremist. It's a gradual slide. So what does that journey actually look like?
Okay, before we go any further, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. When we say radicalization, what are we actually talking about? Well, it's the process where someone comes to adopt these really extreme political or social beliefs. And that word, process, is key. It tells us this is something that happens over time, not all at once.
This timeline here kind of breaks down the typical stages. It often starts with a personal grievance, a feeling of being wronged, maybe discriminated against. That can easily lead to feeling alienated, like you just don't belong. From there, it's natural to start searching for answers, for a community. And that right there, that's the vulnerable moment when they might stumble upon an extremist group that seems to offer everything they've been looking for: solutions, purpose, a place to fit in.
So that's the path, but what's the fuel? What's driving someone down it? Well, at its core, this whole thing is about some really fundamental human needs. We are all wired for connection. And extremist groups, they know this, and they're experts at exploiting it.
Just think about this word for a second. Isolation. It's a powerful and frankly a painful feeling. When someone feels totally disconnected, like they're invisible, cut off from society, it creates this huge vulnerability. It's a space of deep unhappiness that leaves a person desperate for an alternative, for anywhere they feel like they might finally matter.
And what's the perfect cure for isolation? Belonging. This is that powerful, universal human drive that radical groups tap right into. They offer a ready-made community, a clear identity, a sense of family to people who feel like they have absolutely none. So you see, the pull isn't always just the ideology itself, it's the simple promise of connection.
And these are the specific vulnerabilities they're on the lookout for. Things like personal trauma, social isolation, political anger, or just that nagging feeling of being completely powerless. This is especially true for young people, who are often in that critical stage of figuring out who they are and are searching for a cause to really believe in.
This quote pretty much sums it all up, doesn't it? It's not about winning a complex political argument. It's about offering something much more basic and powerful: community, belonging, and certainty in a world that can feel really confusing. They position themselves as the simple answer to someone's complicated pain. Now, if those psychological needs are the engine, then the internet is the rocket fuel. In our world today, that path to radicalization has been put on hyperspeed, amplified by all kinds of online spaces. This comparison is so incredibly important. A healthy online space, a productive community, it shows you different viewpoints, right? It encourages debate. But a radicalizing echo chamber, it does the exact opposite. It locks you into one single point of view, floods you with emotional propaganda, and cuts you off from anyone who disagrees, until that extreme worldview feels like the only possible truth.
And these groups are incredibly savvy online. They use the same major social media platforms that we all use every day to find and recruit people. They create and share this powerful, emotionally charged content that's designed to get a gut reaction, not to make you think. And the anonymity of it all lets them target vulnerable people directly, often in spaces where they feel safe from any real-world consequences.
Okay, so we've looked at the problem, and it can feel pretty overwhelming. But what about the solutions? Well, this brings us to the UK's official strategy for this, and it's called Prevent. It's all about stepping in before it's too late.
The mission here is really clear and focused. This isn't about punishment, it's about safeguarding. The whole entire point is to intervene early, to offer support, and to stop someone from going down that dangerous path in the first place.
So how does it actually work in practice? Well, it's a few different things working together. First, people in public services, like teachers or healthcare workers, are trained to spot the signs of vulnerability. The idea is to then step in early, offering support like mentoring or counseling. A huge part of this is also offering positive alternative stories to challenge the extremist ones,
And finally, the whole strategy is about building stronger, more inclusive communities where people are just less likely to feel isolated to begin with.
And that right there brings us to the final, and I think maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle. Preventing extremism isn't just a job for the government or the police. It's something that every single one of us has a role to play in. This is the key takeaway. If isolation and not belonging are what make people vulnerable, then the most powerful antidote we have is community. By building environments in our colleges, our future workplaces, our neighborhoods, where people feel seen, valued, and included, we are creating one of the strongest defenses against extremism that exists.
So I really want to leave you with this question to carry with you. As you move on from Kent Business College and start your careers, you're going to be colleagues, you're going to be leaders. How can you actively, consciously help build a more inclusive workplace and community? Because when you do that, you're not just creating a better place to work, you're actually helping to build the kind of resilience that protects our entire society from this threat.